Okay, Paul here, and today on the bench we have this 1949 Toastmaster toaster model 1B14. And the customer's complaint with this toaster, really nice toaster. The customer's complaint with the toaster, she said that it was a wedding present for her parents, and it's been used ever since, and it works great, except for the light dock switch is not working. So what we're going to do is disassemble this and see what we can find. Right now I'm just looking it over. It has some kind of stain there. I don't know what that is. It's got some some wear to the chrome around the top where you would put the toast in. She did say it was used constantly. So the chrome has a lot of spotting. Some of it I might be able to clean. Some of it is etched into the chrome. It's got the Toastmaster logo here. And there's the light dark control. The bakelite handles appear to be in good shape. There's the other side, so it looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and take it apart, and a really nice line cord on it. Very good shape for a 49. Somebody might have replaced this line cord at one time. There's some gummy stuff on it there, but it's just probably butter or something. But the cord itself is in great shape. Amazing. And it's put my eyes on it, I might be able to read that. Looks like a GE cord. No, I'm sorry. It's a Beldco, B-E-L, oh no, Belden, B-E-L-D-E-N cord. And so, yeah, it's pretty old. It's got patent numbers on it of 1,855,000. So it's era. It probably is the original cord. Amazing. Okay, so let's take it apart. I think this one will work. Before I take too many of the screws out, we'll open up the tray compartment, take a look inside there. Let's do that. This is the release for it. And there's the tray. And we'll clean that out a little. And the spring for the return. To pop the toast, there's the heating elements. They seem okay. I see a little bent one there, but not bad. Okay, so we'll go ahead and continue to disassemble this. Let me get a container to put parts in so we don't lose them. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take the whole compartment off, the top off. These are fun to work on, but reassembling them, oh boy, that's always fun. But you got to get the chrome back in the right place before you put the screws back in. So if you're working on one of these, be aware of that. You know, if you need to take extra pictures before you start, do so you know exactly how the chrome looks before you start putting it back together. This one is not so bad as like the sunbeams of the era, they are a lot more difficult. And you do have springs, you got to watch out for the springs. And this one, the door comes off here, and I'm just going to take it off just to get it out of the way. You got to watch out for these very little screws. They will run away on you. Definitely keep a container to put things in, because if you lose those, there's no getting a screw that size. You'd have to make do with something that isn't going to be good. Okay, so that's off. And let me read you the interesting information here. Says disconnect before using and clean the crumb tray, of course. Toastmaster automatic pop-up toaster manufactured by Toastmaster Products, Division McCraw Electric Company, Elgin, Illinois. And then it's got all the patent numbers. 110 to 120 volts, 10.5 amps. So that's the current draw. And operates on AC or DC. So, you know, that kind of dates it. And this one is a number 1655066, and I guess that's sort of the serial number. But they operate on DC as well as AC. A lot of people didn't know that about toasters, but many of them would run on both DC and AC. Okay, so here's where we have our control, which is this control here, which handles the temperature. So you see here when you turn in this knob in and out, basically this rod moves in and out, and this is what makes it pop up, come up here and be up against that. And it might just need cleaning. I'd feel a whole lot better if it just popped back in place, then I would know that that's it. Okay, I got the handles off, and the way they come off, which would be easier to see on this one, is they have these screws here, which have a slot in the side, and those slots go in here, and so it goes in there and then it slides up. And then to take it off, you just push them down, you wiggle them until they come down, and then once they line up with these holes, they just pops off. I had to put a couple screws back in to do that, so I wanted to show you that. So we got to take the toaster apart and try not to lose all these little guys here until we can pull them out through the top, because you don't want them coming out the bottom. They got a hook on the other end. So to get them out, you have to take the toaster out, the cover, and it comes off from the top. So we'll take these screws back out, and I just snugged two of them in that diagonal to hold it together while I got the Bakelite handles off. So now that the Bakelite handles are off, we can take the lid off. But again, like I said, you want to do that with it standing up. You'll notice that the holes don't like to line up as easily. Once you take those screws out, they do. Once you get the handles off, you can move it around a little bit. So that helps. Okay, so let's take the lid off. So to do that, it comes up through the top. So you stand it up and you wiggle it, but you got to kind of get it over. You notice it's getting loose. You kind of got to work it. It gets hooked on things as it's coming up, and you don't want to break anything. So you got to be gentle and just kind of, you know, get it to let go. Find out where it's hooking and sort of move it back and forth so it lets go of whatever it's caught on. It's a little tricky, and you just got to have patience. You just can't force it. See that this side is hooking on the temperature control setting. So I don't know if that's the first side you want to get off or the last side. Let's see what this is hooking on. It's hooking on the electric wire nuts that hold the wires. So I'm not sure which the best side to get off first, but one side or the other. I got it past the temperature control, that's a good thing. Now maybe I'll push it that way and get it past the wires. Nuts. Okay, it's trying to come off. And you see, it's not an easy process, so you gotta be patient. Kind of look it over, see where it's hitting. Yeah, see where it's touching on some of that. You know, so look at getting on those nuts. See those nuts there? There's a screw on that one. Some of the wires are coming out, and hear them going around in there. And you can go right on that. Looks like something on this side too. No, this way it came out. See that? So that might be part of the problem. That goes in the top where the heating element goes through. Not like a sunbeam. Sunbeam unfolds and comes off. And you have to put it back down and start over again. Maybe this side has to come out first. You know, it's just, it could be different on every one you do. The main thing is... Aha, I got it. See what I mean? Patience. Okay, and that little insulator, by the way, goes right there. There's actually two. I think one's been missing for quite a while. But they just basically slide in there. Yeah, this one's been missing for quite a while. It's not here. I might take that one out of there and put it over here. Because they just hold the heating elements from moving around. You see, that heating element has had some disaster. A lot of times what happens is in these, the toast will get stuck and people will stick a butter knife down in there and try to get the toast out, and in the process they mess things up and lose things. It just happens. And so, you know, it's life. We've all done it, right? If we've lived long enough. Oh, there's the other one. Good, so we're not missing any. But we've all done it. Oh yeah, we are. We're missing one there. We've lived long enough to remember when these were new. We've all done it, right? We've all stuck things in there and tried to get toast out and stuff like that. So just bear in mind that that's just the way it is. You see all the crumbs in here that don't make it to the crumb tray? They cause part of the problems. Let me see here. This is the crumbs all in here. And what happens is they get in there and they bind up the connections. So that locks on there, and this is the release, see? So when you turn this in and out, it controls when that releases, or it's supposed to. And that's what we're going to work on this one. Okay. I'm not going to take these out because I'm not dealing with the heating elements. The heating elements are fine. I do want to just clean this off and get this all functioning correctly so that this works the way it's supposed to work. And what I'm going to do to turn that easily, I'm going to put the knob on there because I don't want to have to fight it. So what you want to do is unscrew it all the way one way, and then line that up where you would think it would fit good. And so, and then put the screw back in. Be careful of this stem. Once you get this screw in, you don't want to bang it and bend it, but this gives you better control to see what's going on. So basically that just slides in and out. And this controls how far in and out that goes. So the handle pushes it down and locks it there. So basically now I'm just looking at the linkages in the bottom. I don't want to tip it upside down, all those wires will come out. You see how sensitive that is? This toaster has seen a lot of use, but it seems to be doing okay. There's contacts in here, 2 sets of contacts that go down here. I see these 2 are pitting here and here. There's 2 down here, 2 on this pad and 2 on this pad. And so we're going to lightly clean them up because they have something to do with the amount of resistance to the, and I'm just lightly getting them clean, enough so that they make good contact without taking down the actual metal. They get corroded with age, you know, and these have arced considerably. There's a lot of arcage on the contacts. You can see where they're pitted from the spark jumping across them. Okay. Clean that off a little bit. That's just a stop. It controls how high this goes. See, now they're making contact. And that corrosion on those will make it draw more current than it's supposed to draw, which accounts for a lot of this heat damage that's done up here, you know. Same with these. This one seems okay. These are recessed kind of low. See, these are all high. These 2 are low. So something has disformed this, and I think it's just the heat. It's kind of bowed more than it should be, which is probably why I had a lot of trouble getting that lid off. But I'm not going to worry about it. The insulator is only there to hold the heating elements from moving. And that's all they do. And so we got that taken care of. I might even have an insulator that'll work for that. For that missing one, I don't know. I don't know if I got one that size. But if not, it doesn't really matter. It's just, you know, one does fine. It's just, you know, they put 2. Why not, right? But once it's missing, it's missing. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't remake them, and you can't go to the hardware store and buy them. They just don't exist. So right now we want to clean this area out. And what I'm going to do to do some of that, just a little, very soft brush, and just kind of go in there and get as much of the crumbs off this as I can. Eventually I'll take it out and blow it lightly with my compressor and blow all the extra stuff off that I can't get out of there. But to test it, as you're working on it, you don't want that causing a problem that you're trying to troubleshoot, because that ain't gonna do you any good. You'll never know that you got a problem from this stuff, which is actually what causes the issue in the first place. And there's still quite a bit in there, but I can't get this in here. So for that, I'm gonna just use a dry Q-tip, and you gotta be careful. There's springs and stuff in here. Just kind of move it around and break it up, and where it's sticking to the metal. It got hard over the years, turned to soot, and just stayed in there. Move it around, get it all loose, and then just give it a little shake. I use this tray because it really, 2 reasons. One, it's metal, so you know it's a good solid surface to work on, as opposed to plastic, which will crack, or plexiglass, which might crack, and can't handle the heat. This can handle the heat. And the other reason I use this is because this is painted, so it's electrically safer than a piece of bare metal. Alright, so this guy's on a spring. He's got a spring here that controls his movement. working a whole lot different now that it's cleaned. It's not working like it was before where it was staying down, and that's because everything's loose now, the way it was in the factory, so it needs to be readjusted. And that spring needs to be really clean. There we go. And the way this works, when you push the handle down, it locks here. This is controlled by this. When you want to lift it up, you just lift the handle, right? Well, the way that works is, you see how that turns. So when it's down and you turn it, it pushes, it's got a little pin that sticks down here. Let me show you that again. And it's wedged behind this thing, which is the release. So when you push it, it pushes this out, which is the same as pushing this back, which releases the toast. There's not a lot of moving parts. Now you see it, now it's held out by this control. It can't go in, it can only go that far. And once that locks, that's still touching there. And then this is what controls that sensitivity, or it's supposed to. So the next thing is, there was a piece of kernel in there, kernel corn. I don't know, it looks like corn. Any of this stuff that's in here that's hard could have been binding in the controls and making it where it's not working. So the next thing is for me to get some toast, or some bread, and we'll make some toast and see what happens. Now it won't accurately make toast outside of the case, because the toaster works by heat, and without the case on, you're not enclosing the heat, so the heat escapes. Okay, I picked up some white bread, got it in here, got the bottom on this. I mean, I don't have the bottom on this, I don't have the Bakelite handles on it, but I did put the cover on it and screw it down so the heat would stay in there. And I've got this set all the way to light. We're going to do one set on light and one set on dark and see what the difference is now that it's been fully cleaned out. Let me get that over here where it probably won't turn or move as much. Okay, this is something I put under it so it'd be a nice flat surface. Okay, here we go. And it's plugged in. So we'll see what light does. And then we'll let it cool off and we'll try dark. Heat coming out of the top. Sure the elements are all working. And hopefully we won't see any smoke on this setup. That way, and you get to see the whole deal there. And I haven't cleaned the outside of the case, but I have cleaned the backlight handles and all the pieces inside and the levers and controls, and got all the junk out of there, the crumbs and old stuff from years gone by, which is in every toaster. It's not anything reflection on this toaster. That's just, these toasters last 70 years. You know, you can accumulate a lot in 70 years. So 70, 80 years, I mean, you know, these things are still clicking. Okay, you heard the first click, so it's getting ready to pop up now. And we'll see how they are when they come out. And there we go. Okay, that's on the light setting. And you see that's a nice toast. Actually, it's a little bit darker than I would have liked, but you know, like I said, it is a 70-year-old toaster. It toasts pretty even. You know, the side here on both toasts is not that great, but that's just the way these toasters were, you know. They last forever, but they're not rocket science. I mean, you know, they're very basic, but they make great toast, and that is toasted. It's just not colored. Okay, so that's the lightest one. Now we're going to give it a second to cool down and get it back to the same temperature so we can check it again. And then I'm going to see if I'll have to take the cover back off again and adjust it one more time to try to get it lighter. But let's let it cool off and we'll do another run. Okay, now we're ready to do the dock setting. I got 2 new slices of bread in the toaster. And here we go. These that we done earlier, they look pretty good. I mean, that's not bad, you know. That's a good toast. This one came out a little bit darker, but not a lot darker. Actually, it's lighter on that side. It depends, you know, when they're in there, how close they bend toward the heating elements. Like I said, they don't make toast like they used to. The bread used to be thicker, and it was more likely to stay straight up and down and not bent like that. But, you know, that's a good toast. I had some coffee and some butter. I'd enjoy that. As it is now, I'll feed it to the birds and squirrels out here in northeast Georgia. They'll enjoy it. So we'll see what happens here. And hopefully this one these will come out fine. If they come out unburnt, then we're about done. If they come out too dark, then I'm going to have to try to figure out how to make these lighter. And I'm not exactly sure how to do that because there really is no adjustment other than this adjustment, which was not working because it needed to be cleaned. Well, it's fully clean now. So the mechanism in the toaster is part of the toaster. There's no way to actually change it for another mechanism from another toaster. It just was not functioning at all because it needed some attention. But that's about the pop, so that's good. There is some things that can be adjusted, and I don't see any smoke coming out, so that's a good sign. This probably won't be burnt, but they should be considerably darker than the other two, and if they are, then this control's working and the toaster's working. I see a little bit of smoke, so they are getting darker. Too dark. But that's all the way dark. Ouch. It's also all the way hot. Okay, that's all the way dark. And I don't know that anybody would want their toast that dark, but if they did, now you can see the contrast between the light setting and the dark setting. Again, here. And here. Now this side got really hot. This is the side that was smoking, and you see why it was bending toward the burner, but it should still not have gotten that hot. But again, that's the darkest setting. A medium would be between these and these, and again, that's not bad. You know, it's a little bit darker than I would like it, but I'm not the one who wants dark toast, you know. I'm more like for the light toast, but different strokes for different folks, right? But the toaster is working. It is changing. I can try to adjust it a little bit more, but there really, like I say, there's really not much you can do. You either got it working or it ain't working. In this case, it's working. So, and you know, this is the darker side of the light toast. So, you know, not bad, right? And this is the darker side of the dark toast. So it's definitely got quite a range from the light side of these to the dark side of that. It's got quite a range. And this toaster, as the customer has said, has been used constantly. So for it to still be able to do variations is pretty good. And I think the customer will be happy with this. I mean, that's, you know, even on the dark side, that's still considered light. I don't know how it's showing up in the camera. I guess it's pretty close to what it looks like. Put some light on them. Maybe you can see them better. Okay, that's the light setting, and that's the dark setting. And on the light setting, and the light does help a little bit. You see the setting there, and on the light side, the dark side of the darkest two. Apparently, this toaster, two of the heating elements are stronger than the other two, and so the toast come out darker. I would assume that would be the middle two heating elements, that one there and that one over in there toward the center. I would imagine those two are throwing more heat than these two, because these two have a bigger air gap behind them. Actually, the air gap is, as you can see with the case, it's about the same, almost the same as in the middle. Well, in the middle you got two burners. Here you only got one. So yeah, this side would be lighter, and this outside edge would be lighter than the inside edges, which has double the heating elements. And but the heating elements are working, so there's nothing I can do with them. So there you have it. What I'm going to do is clean this up as much as I can once I put the bottom on. But I'll go ahead and try, before I do that, try to make these a little lighter. I gotta let it cool off all the way before I can open it up. Okay, I adjusted this toaster and I got it set on its light setting, and this is about as light as I'm going to be able to get it. And we're going to do a test and see how it comes out. So I think it's going to be fine. This is a beautiful toaster. Look at the chrome on that. It's just gorgeous. You'll never get a toaster today that after decades of having it would look like this. In fact, they won't even last but a couple of years if you're lucky. But these toasters last for decades, and they hold that incredible beauty as well as the functionality. There's no telling how many toasts this toaster has made in its lifetime. Okay, we're getting close to about a minute. Should hear a click before too long. Now the toaster was cold when I put the toast in, so it has to get up to operating temperature. There's the click. Okay, so we know it's throwing out plenty of heat. What that click is there's a thermostat that heats up the timer, and that controls when it pops up. It's separate from the elements that actually cook the toast. Okay, and there we have them. And that's the lightest setting. And that's what we have. Now again, the toaster was cold. So it came out like that. Okay, so now we're going to do two toasts on the darkest setting. And again, this is set the best I can get it. I can't get it any better than this. It's all the way to the end. So they are what they are. You know, the toaster is producing, let me wipe some of that off there. It's producing the toast the way it's designed to do. There is no lighter setting, and the only thing I can do is go darker. Of course, we don't want toast darker than that. I think those look pretty good. Put some light on them. You can see they're well cooked. You know, got a little bit closer to the heating element there, but aside from that, they're in good shape. Now, again, remember that this was when the toaster was cold, which means it had to heat up longer to get to operating temperature. Once the toast is warm and it makes the second set of toast, they would actually It'd be about the same, probably a little lighter, because it wouldn't have to stay in there as long. The amount of time in the toaster is what determines how dark they come out. Okay. So we should be hearing a click pretty soon, and these will definitely be dark because I'm on the darkest setting, but this will show the contrast. There's the click. This will show the contrast between the darkest setting and the lightest setting. Again, beautiful toaster. Just amazing. And there we have the darkest setting. Now, look at the contrast. I don't know if anybody would want any toast darker than that. Now, those toasts came out really dark. However, they are near the end of the loaf because I've been adjusting this for a while, and so you see they curve in, and so they got extra dark on the top. Had this been, you know, not so curved in as they are, it would have been this color, the whole toast. But, and, you know, they're dark, okay? If you like dark toast, you can get dark toast out of this toaster. If you like light toast, you can get light toast out of this toaster. I'm going to put the light on all four, and you can see the variance. So this toaster is working fine. That's those, and that's the other side of these. And that's the best I can get it. But you got quite a range. You can go from this light to intermediate if you set it in the middle, which I didn't do, and then dark. And again, these got a little dark because they're near the end of the loaf of bread. You know, and that one, of course, you can see what happened there. You can see how that just bent in and burnt along the top there. Again, end of the loaf, smashed bread. Look at how they make bread today. I mean, that's just pathetic. But anyway, nice even coat on this side where it didn't bend in toward the burner. This one just got hard on both sides because it's so thin. But it's good, you know. I mean, that's dark, all the way dark, and nobody's going to eat toast all the way dark unless they like it that way. And these are all the way light, and that's great. So this toaster is working as best it's going to work, and it's working that way after let's see, 49, that'd be 70 years. Amazing device. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it beneficial, please consider giving me a thumbs up, and if you have any questions, ask them in the comments, and I'll be glad to answer them for you. And thanks again for any support you provide.